talked about it yesterday, just that chip on your shoulder. Everyone talking about a neutral AFC Championship game, not even thinking about you guys. How much did that motivate you coming into this?
You better send those refunds.
I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. Back-to-back champs, kings of the north with it. Thinking they can hang with us, still ain't jumped out the porch with it. Long bomb to chase every Sunday, watch him go and get it. Double up on him, then we gon' double down on T. Higgins. Then throw Boyd in the mix, now you really iffy. Every Sunday showing boys how to really gritty. They try to shuffle up the game on us, but they ain't icky. Flip the coin, kick the toe, Roger to go and get it. Never know what's gon' happen when Joe drop back. He get shiesty in the pocket, I get shiesty on the track. Nobody on the team all pro, that's all cap. Most all around team in the NFL, that's all fact. Ain't came across nobody yet that seem like they can hang with us. They said we couldn't be Buffalo, but see how we call they bluff. Underdogs every week, they keep on trying to label us. Put your money on us, even if Vegas don't favor us. No matter what, we really came up, now it's hard to fail. I dare you come across that middle, Von gon' ring your bell. I know we under they skin, them boys built frail. Eli Apple out there chirping like a next tail. You don't want Salmon Trey to come off them ends. Rita clogging up the middle like a big body Benz. Right behind them Logan and Pratt, the turnover twins. Jesse Bates in the backfield just to clean up the loose ends. We just drafted Cam and drafted Hill. Instant gratification every time that they on the field. We can't go back to what we was, cause that's the loser way. It's been hard to throw on us since we picked up a Woozy. It's like win after win, feel like we could really do it. Zach Taylor doing his thing for the city, I give it to him. And I bet Samaji will find a hole if you give it to him. Hayden Hurst don't need a hole, he just plan on running through him. Just hand it off to 28 and let him do the dash. Getting hit by BJ Hill probably feel like a car crash. Every week it seem like Lou digging deeper in his bag. And if the game on the line, all my faith and money match. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up.
What do we say, Dolph?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Turnipole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the University of Cincinnati. Bearcats are playing their very first Big 12 game tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. Big noon kickoff's going to be here. I'm excited. I can't wait to get to it. Now, do me a favor. If you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I'm up to 2,359 subscribers. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, why not? Please do so. Please go to the YouTube channel, Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button and the bell for notification. And every time I go live, you'll be notified. And people have told me, like, well, I watch you on Facebook and I don't do a YouTube subscription. It's really simple. Just go to YouTube, get a channel. It's free. And subscribe. It just helps me out. I'd appreciate it. And as always, I'm coming to you live from this glorious place down here. It's the Ice Cave. The Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And you know what? We got the greatest quarterback in the league. He was out there practicing a little bit today. Maybe he plays Monday. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But if you guys want any of the gear, the hats, the shirts, the flags, and stuff, go to jackpotjoey9.com. The beers at Brink Brewery. Portions of the proceeds go to the Joe Burrow Hunger Relief Fund and the Joe Burrow Foundation. I really need to get a Bearcat intro. I gotta work on that because we're talking Bearcats here, and we have Bearcat. I like to say he's a legend. He might not say that, but he's a legend. He's Jim Kelly. But first, let's get to my co-host for today. He's from the Riverfront Bengals. He's Joe Farsi. Get up there. Hey, what's up, Joe?
Hey, there I am. Nice, man. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, it helps to hit the button. Try to hit the thing and you didn't pop up. I don't know. Anyway,
let's come on. What kind of amateur show are you going going on here?
I just wing it most of the time. Here, let's get the Jim. Oh, clap, clap, clap. You see. There he is. What's going on, Jim?
How are you guys?
Good.
Doing well.
I got it. Like I said, I was watching the intro. I'm like, man, I really got to get a Bearcat intro because you come on. I'm like, I gave you your own intro. I sang to you. I did the UC, clap, clap. I did all that. I got to get a Bearcat intro here. So
yeah, yes, you do. But your Bearcat role there was really good. So
I've had lots of practice.
Yeah, good. I think I've seen you run around a circle and do that. So
Yep,
Appreciate it.
I haven't done that yet this year.
Yeah.
After they win in Oklahoma, or not in Oklahoma, after they win tomorrow versus Oklahoma, I will definitely be doing it. That is for sure. Because the first time I did it was 2 years ago when they beat Notre Dame. That's the first time. That was the first victory lap I did ever of Bengals or Bearcats. That was the one that got me to do it. So tomorrow will be just as big a win as in Notre Dame. So, Jim, what's your thoughts on the game tomorrow?
Well, certainly you got a quality opponent coming in. They haven't really been up against anybody yet. I think they played SMU, Tulsa, and Arkansas State. I think they started with Arkansas State, then SMU, and last week Tulsa. So from that perspective, they really haven't faced any tough competition. However, that being said, they're scoring 55 points. They're number one in the country in margin of victory right now. They're just killing it offensively. They've got a fifth-year senior quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, who UC fans have seen a couple of times when he was at UCF, one time at Nippert, one time down there before he transferred.
He hasn't liked Nippert so much.
No, he's not had a good day. It wasn't a good day for him there, but at the same time, he was a young freshman at the time. And he's having a hell of a year.
Right.
900 yards. He's 82.5% completion percentage.
That's pretty good.
I mean, think about that. Yeah. Emory Jones, who's one of the leaders in the country right now, is at 66%. And Dylan Gabriel with 11 touchdowns and just a little bit over 900 yards, 82.5% completion percentage. He's pretty special. And it's what they do with him. They brought the offensive coordinator that was at UCF over with him.
Right.
They got away from that for a while when the Auburn coach that's there, I can't think of his name right now, it's UCF right now, Gus Malzahn. When he went there, they kind of slowed their tempo down a little bit. But what they do is absolutely amazing. This is basketball on grass. It really is. They give you no time to think. They finish the play, and that's when the 40-second clock will start. They literally can get the next play started within 7 seconds, or in some cases 6 seconds. That's most of the time 10. So they've really got a system to keep things going fast. What that does is that wears you down defensively. So from that perspective, they're going to be a challenge. I think Cincinnati can score on it. I don't want to take anything away from the Bearcats offense. They've been pretty good this year too, with the exception of last week in the red zone against the Redhawks. They were not very good.
No.
But between the 20s, they moved the ball tremendously. So that being said, those scores, the Bearcats will score some points. You got to figure out a way to slow, the Oklahoma Sooners down, and getting to the quarterback is one of those things, no doubt about it. So that front three with the four behind them, the linebackers they're really going to be critical tomorrow. And you're going to have to use depth, because as quick as Oklahoma goes, you're going to be wearing guys down, particularly those big guys up front. So move the football, work it out in the red zone, make your touchdowns, and then get to the quarterback and make him feel a little bit uncomfortable. I know those sound like simple keys.
That sounds easy. The Bearcats going to win then. Just do what Jim said.
Just a matter of you got to do it now.
Right, exactly. Joe, what do you got, my man?
How important do you feel that? I mean, obviously getting to the quarterback is important, but with Gabriel now, I don't think he runs as much as he used to when he was at UCF. But with him being a smaller quarterback, I mean, he's under 6 foot tall. He's listed at 5'11", which means he's probably 5'8", 5'9", is being disciplined in the pass rush. Just making sure that you're not leaving these huge gaps for him to slip out. And as wide open as they spread out the defense, either he's going to have a ton of room in front of him, or he's going to have somebody open streaking downfield. So how important is, again, if you can't get to the quarterback, at least stay disciplined in your pass rush lane.
Yeah, you're right on there, Joe. He ran a lot more in his early career. He's been hurt. He got hurt 2 years ago against Louisville, and I think the third game of the year broke his collarbone, and that was during a rushing attempt. I don't remember whether it was a called run or whether he was scrambling, but he didn't get to play the rest of the year. And I think he also, if you watched, you guys, we talked a little bit about it, the Miami game, those lanes that you're describing right there broke down. Brett Gabbert took advantage of it too. he's a very similar. Gabbard's a little bit taller than Gabriel, a little bit bigger. And Gabriel, I stood next to him at media days this year. He's 5'11", maybe 6 foot. Then again, he had, Texas, he had cowboy boots on. So.
Right, exactly.
Not Texas, Oklahoma cowboy boots.
Right.
But that being said, they watched that tape, and he's going to keep his eyes open for that. Now, in talking to Coach Satterfield, both at his press conference on Tuesday and the coaches show Tuesday, that's one of the things that they know that they have to improve on from last week. They literally, I don't remember the final numbers that Gabbard had, but it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 70, 80 yards. And that took place on maybe 3-4 plays. The bulk of that did anyway. And they cannot allow Gabriel to run for 20 yards at a crack or even 15 yards at a crack. He doesn't want to run the ball, so keep him in the pocket, put some pressure on him. Don't allow him to get out of there. But, to Oklahoma's credit, one of the things they're going to try to do, they spread the field all the way, 52 yards across, and then they'll go deep on you as well. And seeing watching the film, what Miami was able to do right off the bat on the first play, on 79-yard touchdown, they are going to take their shots down the field, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get to the Miami game here in a minute. I want to talk a little more about being the first Big 12 game in Bearcat history. Big noon kickoff is going to be there. How has it sunk in yet, Jim, that to you that the Bearcats are actually in the Big 12, and they're getting the national attention, and we didn't really have to do anything other than get into the Big 12. 2 years ago, we had to fight and scratch a claw to get game day to show up because we were undefeated for almost 2 years. So is it sinking in that the Bearcats are in the Big 12 for the first time?
Well, I think I'm ahead of the curve on that because of the media days that I referred to.
Right.
I went out to dinner with all of the Big 12 radio folks, and it's like, holy cow. Sorry about that.
you can say shit. It's fine.
Thank you. I'm sitting next to the Oklahoma play-by-play guy or the Texas play-by-play guy or the Kansas State. Doesn't matter.
Right.
TCU. It's like, man, we are in the Big 12. And if I go back to when I played and we were an independent, and then even some of those games prior to, even during Conference USA, where, getting 7,000, 9,000, 11,000 fans into the stadium was a chore. Mm-hmm. And now to see where this is, I think tomorrow when everybody gets to the stadium and sees Oklahoma run out of the tunnel, you're going to say, my goodness, we're in the Big 12.
Right.
And I think it's phenomenal. And you're right. All of a sudden now we've got the Fox pregame show there. That's probably because of the relevance of this game. It's Cincinnati's first Big 12 game ever.
Right.
And they were in the national championship semifinals 2 years ago. Doesn't hurt that Oklahoma's really good too. And I think they probably have seen enough of Deion Sanders in the last 3 weeks that made them decide they want to go elsewhere. But it's huge for this university. The amount of attention it puts on the school as well as the football program, it's fantastic. So, I mean, all in all, I'm just truly excited. I want to soak it all in just as I did when game day was here.
Right.
But I mean, it's really big, and everybody going way back, not way back, but for a long time, should be commended for all the effort to try to get Cincinnati into a Power 5 conference, which they finally did.
Absolutely. I mean, I've told you just many times. I remember going to Nippert when Murphy was the coach, and there was nobody there. And from that to here is unbelievable. Joe, what's your thoughts on the Bearcats going to the Big 12 for the first time tomorrow?
It just has to feel, especially for the older alumni or the players that have played, in your era, even before that, just this culmination and kind of a gratification that, hey, the UC is a big boy. Like they're not playing they still play Miami every year, but Miami is 2 levels below them.
Yeah.
They're a legitimate college football program. I mean, a burgeoning power, in my opinion, to be honest with you, but this is just super exciting. And I never thought I would see Oklahoma coming out in a conference game. I mean, you'd have these one-off games. You'd have Syracuse coming to town or Wisconsin coming to Nippert, in the 90s, but it's going to be an absolute packed house, and it's going to be a fun time.
Well, Joe, and the one thing I would add on to that, and you're right, we have seen teams come one off, I think is a good way of putting it. In Oklahoma was one of them, but they're at Nippert, not at Payton Stadium.
Right.
You know, and that is absolutely huge. And I had a conversation. I was on a program, one of the Sooners programs earlier this week. And as I mentioned, they played at Tulsa last week, which the Bearcats are very familiar with playing at Tulsa. Mm-hmm. They were at SMU 2 weeks ago. The Bearcats, very similar with playing at SMU. Those are smaller stadiums, kind of like Nippert is. Nippert's a little bigger than both of those. But the thing is, and Oklahoma realizes this, Nippert Stadium, even though it's a small stadium, is different than Tulsa, different than SMU. Mm-hmm. And they know what they're walking into.
Wow.
Until they really get out there and that crowd starts going and that kickoff, you know, they're going to look. I'm pretty sure that Oklahoma, this team, went down to the stadium today. Okay. So you're going to look at it empty and you're going to go, wow, this is really, really small or really, really tight. But when you get 40,000 people in there and, you know, that student body starts going and it gets loud and they are right on top of you. Yep. I mean, right on top of you. It's a different place. And, you know, I don't, you know, you don't automatically win the game because you're playing at Nippert. No. But at the same time, it sure makes a big difference versus playing in an NFL stadium.
Well, it's cool because it's literally a hole in the ground. They've been playing there for 100 years. I mean, that to me, that right there is the coolest part about it because it was a natural hole and they started playing football. And it's the middle of campus, which most football fields are not in the middle of campus. I mean, some of them are off campus or they're far away from it or whatever, you know, in their towers. Right. I mean, this one, you don't even know it's there. It's you kind of walk up on it. It's kind of a hidden gem. I freaking love Nippert. I mean, it's one of the coolest places. So
the TV guys last week asked me why the steps at Nippert are at different levels.
Yep.
Okay. And I said, well, here's the deal. The ones at the top, which are the true kind of what they should be steps, that was the original stadium. So if you picture that, so when you walk down and you start to see where the steps change, that was what the field was. So the field was a lot bigger and you were not as close to the action. Well, what happened is when they expanded, they didn't go up and out, they went down.
Right.
And so what that did is they created that bowl that you just described, you know, that hole in the ground, and they made it bigger. You got closer to the field, and it's really an advantage for the Bearcats. And again, it doesn't win the game for you. You still got to play well, but what a place to enjoy the college football game. Man, it's fantastic.
I will put Nippert, especially Nippert night against any college football atmosphere. I think it's awesome. Now, Brad here's got a question for you. Jim, he said, will Corey Connor be able to run tomorrow?
Yeah, so I think Corey's third in the Big 12 in rushing still, and he didn't have a lot of yardage last week. So, yeah, he will go back to being the starter. That was a big question we asked Coach Satterfield because Corey, I think, had 15 carries, but not a lot of yards against Miami. Ryan Montgomery was having success and ended up with 101 or 103 yards, just over 100. And so what Coach Satterfield decided to do was to stay with Ryan. But no, Corey Connor will be back in there as a starter. Will he be successful in running? I think so. I really do. This team's a good running team. And you've got a running quarterback who helps you. That kind of spreads things out a little bit and keeps the defense thinking. And Corey is right now, he's the number one back. So he'll be in there tomorrow. And, you know, I hope to see him. He had 100 yards in the first 2 games. I hope he goes back to 100 yards tomorrow.
Now, Jim, is the rumor true you're going to be the guest picker for Big Noon tomorrow?
Well, if I bring my guitar, I can pick a little bit. I don't think they're going to ask me, no.
They should.
Well,
they know what they're missing.
I'll wait for that phone call. You know, it's early in the day. I think that person's already been selected.
Probably.
Yeah.
Joe, what you got?
I'm just kind of echoing off of what you guys are talking about, just the stadium atmosphere. I mean, besides the fact that it gets really steep and the sound just rattles around, there's so many buildings that sound just echoes off of. That it doesn't win the game playing there, but it makes it really difficult for visiting teams. I mean, how many delay of games, how many false starts? I mean, how many of these penalties that you see from guys because they can't hear the snap count or they can't get the calls from the sideline. So it absolutely plays a huge role. And besides just being a cool environment as a fan, and I'm sure as a broadcaster to be there for games, it's it's a difficult thing that teams need to prepare for. Now, playing in the Big 12, I mean, you play in Darrell K. Royal, where there's, I don't know, 100,000 people there. It's a huge, large or loud environment, but it's a different animal.
Yeah, it is a different animal. I mean, Oklahoma, their home stadium's 86, so it's not small either.
Right.
You know, and there's some other ones that are pretty good size, but you know, and I've got a photo in my that's not a photo, it's a rendering, but a picture of the rendering in my phone that is a 56,000 seat Nippert Stadium. And it's pretty cool to look at. And the good part is everything that you guys just said about Nippert Stadium. If this ever comes to fruition, it may never, and obviously if it does, it's going to be many, many years down the road. It's not going to change what Nippert is right now. You know, it's still going to have, you know, the intimacy. They're not allowed to cover up the stadium, and Joe, what you were talking about with the sound bouncing off the, they're bouncing off the buildings. They're not allowed to cover up the building. Used to be Schmidlap Hall. I think it's CCM owns it now, and they changed the name, down in the closed end. But what it involves is a renovation of the north end, and kind of boxing all that in, and allowing both the locker rooms to be underneath, and then putting a third deck above the pavilion on the east side. And again, so that one's in the neighborhood of the picture that I saw was 55 to 57,000. Now, whether that ever happens, I don't know. But it's nice to have that. And that being said, you know, it's the ticket's hard to get. A good friend of mine, his brother ended up coming into town, found out last weekend, tried to get 2 tickets, and for the lower bowl it was $450, and for the upper section it was $250. Wow. So yeah, so you know,
well, I got lucky. Some friend of mine named Joe took me to the first game, so I was able. And me and him, that guy right there. Me and him about died actually. We were in the sun. It was so freaking hot.
Oh wow,
that was
It can get warm.
It was hot. And the funny thing is, we were actually, me and Joe were actually discussing what they would do. How would they, you know, expand this if they ever wanted to? And I said it. You know, the only thing they could do is the north end zone, and I think Joe even said, you know, maybe put a third deck on. But
yeah, you know what I'll do, Jeff? I'll send you a picture of this when
I appreciate that. That'd be cool. I'd be curious to see what it looks like.
And again, this is nothing that's even been discussed.
Right.
This was done. The previous administration did it a while back when they were trying to get into the Big 12. So, and again, if they opted to do something, it might be totally different than what's in this picture. But it's really cool because they are keeping the integrity of Nippert Stadium. Yeah,
exactly. And I know the building at the other end, the closed end, or the Ruckus is a student section. That's a historical building, so they can't. Can they put any like on the sides of the building, but they just can't put it like on the building, right?
That's correct. That's the one I was referring to. They can bring it up, kind of bring it in a little bit on each side, but that's all they're allowed to do. They cannot cover the face of it.
Yeah. So, which I mean, I understand, because that's kind of one of the fixtures at Nippert. That's kind of cool. So I understand. I mean, hopefully they can expand it. Hopefully we get to that big where they do expand it. All right, so we've went about 23 minutes, but I guess it's time to get into the last week's game against Miami and how frustrating that was. Because Jim, I mean, I told you out there. I mean, and I always say we, when I say we mean Bearcats, we dominated every aspect of that game except the red zone. We get run down the field and we get in the red zone and we just couldn't score. And it was frustrating. It's all good. I'm sure it's frustrating for you watching the game, but it's just like, I don't know if I've ever seen a team that consistent to move the ball up and down the field and then get to a certain point and can't go any farther. I mean, do they make a change, do you think, this week in trying to figure that out?
I think so. I really do. And it's the one thing that was puzzling to me too, because the one thing that I've liked about Scott Satterfield through 2 games, and I'll even throw the bulk of the third game in there, is his creativeness on offense. He really seems to come up with different things. I mean, we're at Pittsburgh. They're on their Cincinnati's on the 1 yard line going out, right? Mm-hmm. And then Pittsburgh's got 8 guys in the box playing man coverage. They bring Peyton Singletary across in motion. And, they're thinking, okay, he's going to he's going to kind of stop right outside the tackle or the other tight end and be another blocker. He continues out a little bit further. They throw a 3-yard out to him, and it gets him out of, on your 1-yard line.
Yep.
They're throwing the ball. And so from that standpoint, he's really kind of kept teams off balance. And that's what I kept thinking I was going to see last week. Okay, 1 red zone failure, 2 red zone failures, kick a field goal. I'm okay with that, but get it figured out. But everything seemed to be, it was like deja vu. It was like the same drive over and over and over again. And even inside the 20, they'd get a few yards, get down to the 11, the 12, the 8, the 7. But from there on in, man, nothing seemed to work. And it all, without going back and looking at the play-by-play, it all to me seemed like the same type of plays that just didn't work.
Now, what was, I think, a tone setter was the 4th and 1 or 4th and goal, whatever it was. They stopped us on the opening. Was it our opening drive? I think we intercepted the ball. I think that's what it was. Either way, that to me, that was a tone setter the wrong way for the Bearcats, or how Miami stopped them. Now, the Bearcats could go in and score there. Jim, it completely changes the game. I think we win going away, to be honest, if we score on that 4th and goal.
I would agree with you. I mean, as quick as they scored, that was a momentum swing for them. And okay, now you got to match that. You got to match that momentum and get the energy back. All you got to do is score a touchdown, and you don't, and they stop you on 4th and 1. Then all of a sudden, that energy is, man, they're just all. I was going to say reinvigorated, but they're just all fired up. Man, that was tough.
It would have taken everything, all the momentum they built from that bomb, the first play of the game. It would have just sucked the life out of them.
It would have.
Yeah.
They're thinking to themselves, okay, we got lucky on one play.
Right.
Here it comes. They're running it down our throat. And as you guys said, between the 20s or between the 18s, that's exactly what we did. Emory got the 17-yard touchdown run, which was a nice play. But other than that, a couple of field goals, and that's it.
Yep. What do you got, Joe?
Well, just to go with what you're saying, when they intercept the ball, they had the ball 1st and goal at the 8. I mean, that's where their drive started, and just run, and 4th and goal from the 1, they get stuff for a 2-yard loss, and it's obviously those are things that you can't have happen against the quality opponent. It's frustrating they couldn't punch it in against Miami's defensive front. They should have dominated.
Yeah.
I know the offensive line was a question coming into the season because it's basically just so many unknowns, but they looked good. Obviously they were dominant against Eastern Kentucky, and they held it pretty well against them. Pittsburgh always has a formidable pass rush, and they did a really good job there. And I think that's, for me, more than anything else. Play calling, questionable. I'm not an offensive guru, so I can't really go too much into any major complaints, but just the fact that the offensive line wasn't able to get a ton of push in the run game when they needed it. Montgomery looked a heck of a lot better because he's a different back. He's not the between the tackles guy that Kiner is, and that's, to me, that's what was frustrating. I think Kiner had 14 carries for 31 yards. I mean, barely getting 2 yards a pop. So, is there hope for going up against Oklahoma? Now, I haven't checked to see how Oklahoma's doing against the run, but I mean, Oklahoma pumps out NFL players year after year, so I have to assume they've got a pretty, if not stout, at least a talented defensive front.
Yeah, they do, and you're right. I think coming into the season, once the receiving core got shored up, and then the transfers came in, and we go to the Eastern Kentucky game, and you realize, man, these receivers are really good. We saw it at Summer Ball out at Camp Higher Ground. You're thinking, okay, the only place we have to worry about is the offensive line. Well, you go through 2 games, and Joe, you're so right. At Pittsburgh, they had a really, really good defensive front. They had 5 sacks the week before. And Cincinnati, Emory ended up getting in trouble and did something he shouldn't have done to give them 2 sacks. It would have been 1, which is pretty darn good. So that being said, and honestly, if you look at what the running game was able to do, now, again, some of it was the quarterback running, getting out on the edge, making some plays, meaning Emory, the Cincinnati quarterback. But the offensive line, again, inexplicably between the 20s, moved Miami. But then that play you're talking about, the goal line play there,
They got no push. They got absolutely no push.
Man who's in the backfield. You don't get a 2-yard loss by stalemating him. I mean, even if you the running back's going to get you 1 yard if you just do not let penetration in, okay? At the point of attack, just stalemate them, hold them there. The running back will get into the end zone, and that didn't happen.
Now, one play I want to talk about, we talked about this off air, but the fake punt. I tweeted this out. I was like, that take massive balls. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to put it to call that play because, I mean, UC was desperate. I mean, but I don't think any of us, Jim, you probably didn't think they were going to go for a fake punt at that time. I mean, I was shocked. I'm like, holy crap, like, yes. And then we go all the way down, and we get the field goal block. I'm like Brad's asking here. He said, wants to know if the snap was bad on the missed field goal or just a bad kick. I think he's talking about the block one.
Yeah, I think he'd be talking about the field goal. Well, let's talk about the punt first, and then I'll answer Brad's question.
Yep.
So Miami in the previous punt kind of stacked one side,
right?
And Cincinnati got the punt off, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but that was in the maybe the late third quarter, early fourth quarter. I don't remember exactly. So they noted that, and it was one of the things that I'm not sure whether it was Kerry Combs or Satterfield said, if they do that again, take a look and see if we can run. And by golly, they did. They overloaded the if you're on the kicking team, the right side. If you're on defense, the left side, they overloaded the left side. And in this particular case, they had a check with me, and they gave the signal, and basically the snap went to the tight end, and boom, it was fabulous. So, and from then, now you talk about having balls. You're absolutely right. There was just a little over 3 minutes to go in the game,
right?
On the 26-yard line. So you don't make that.
It's over.
30. They're at the 30 going in. It's tie score. All they got to do is keep the ball in the middle of the field and maybe pick up, if they can, 10, 12 yards. And they got an easy chip shot field goal. And, fortunately for the Bearcats, they were able to work the fake punt and deliberately move the ball right down the field, using as much clock as possible. So they did everything right until that kick.
Yeah.
And to answer the question is, and this is what Satterfield told me, is that they've got it all mapped out in reference to making a guy go around the edge to where he cannot get in to block it.
Right.
Okay. The guard tackle gap needs to be 4 inches. And then from there to the defender who's on the edge, another 4 inches. Well, evidently the tackle, the third guy to the right, so you got the long snapper, the guard, and the tackle. I'm not sure who plays those positions. His foot was inside the guards, and then the protector there on the edge, his foot was inside the tackle. So you talk about a game of inches. Exactly. You're talking 2 inches where this guy came around. If they had those splits, he doesn't get there. He's, a fraction of a second late. And as best anybody could tell, the ball was right down the middle. Now, you'll never know because, the angle that they have, it's just coming off of out of the hold, and it was going straight, so from the end zone.
We would have won the game. And then the guy blocked and turned around and catches the game-winning catch. I'm like, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, he had a heck of a game, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Wasn't he the one that caught the bomb in the first quarter too, or first half?
He only caught the guy who caught the first touchdown pass. Yeah, that was his only catch of the day.
They had one catch, one target.
Yeah.
So, he had I forget what he had. He had 10 catches the week before, or 8, and he had a 99-yard touchdown in that game, 273 yards on 10 catches.
That'll help
they did a good job on him afterwards. The one thing it did do, and this happens all the time when you have a great receiver, and the Bengals are a perfect example of this. You try to double one guy, then you got to deal with the other guys, right?
Right.
And that's what Miami's receivers, I'm not putting them in that category, but when you take this guy away, who's your deep threat, then that means you're putting the second body out there, and he's not being able to cover somebody else. And they did complete some passes to some other guys along the way.
What you got, Joe?
I was going to say, catch a 99-yard touchdown pass and a 79-yard touchdown pass, that is definitely going to help your yards per reception.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
90. I mean, that's a decent day in one catch. So that's
Yeah. He's a 4.3 guy, 4.38 or something like that. Little guy, 5'10", 165.
Those are good guys to have. I mean, you
Yeah.
had two of them last year, and Tyler Scott and Trey Tucker. I think they need maybe one of the guys that they have again. I'm still getting used to, Xavier Henderson as the clear cut number one, but I haven't quite figured out the pecking order of the rest of the receiver crew. And I think that'll work its way out as the season goes on. D Wiggins, I always want to call him T Higgins. It's not really fair to be that close.
Very, very understandable.
I'm surprised you haven't messed that up, Jim. I would.
It's actually it would be
more worried about Dan Hoyer
because he's got to call them both back-to-back days.
He's got both.
Right, exactly.
But he has not. And I got to give Dan credit. He has not said Bengals for Bearcats or Bearcats for Bengals. I mean,
he's semi-professional.
Semi.
But if you're good enough to have a character named after you on The Simpsons, then you're not going to mix up your teams. You're not going to mess up the receiving corps.
No, well deserved for sure. So to answer your question, Joe, on the receivers, you're right. D Wiggins is probably your second go-to guy, but he and Xavier Henderson kind of play the same position. They're usually going to be the wide guys, although both of them can be on the field at the same time. Braden Smith's your slot guy. And he's not getting a lot of targets, but my goodness, has he made some incredible catches. He's also one that had threw the pass on an end around at Pittsburgh and completed it. He's a guy, he had that twisting diving catch at Pitt for a touchdown. And then against Miami, he had one outstanding catches as well. So those are your three guys. I think they want to work some more guys in. I think you're going to see Evan Prater more this week as well. Don't know exactly how they plan on targeting and what they're going to use him for. He'll probably be in the slot. Him and Braden Smith and kind of interchanging, or they may use him in the game at the same time. I don't know. They can use a number of guys.
I'm glad to hear the reaction that fans seem to have with Evan Prater, because it turned on him quick. I mean, most of the season, anytime Ben Bryant struggled last year, everyone was calling for Prater. Right. And then, I mean, he was in the 2 games, I guess 3 games technically. He was in the Temple game, and then he struggled. Like, he looked like he wasn't ready, and a huge part of the fan base seemed to turn on him and were ready. This guy's a MAC quarterback; he doesn't belong here. But it's as a fan, as a Cincinnatian, I'm glad to see that the fans have embraced the position change, and everyone's ready for him to do big things. And I think he can, with his size and speed, and obviously with him being a former quarterback, he knows what the defensive back is thinking, and any kind of option route, he knows how to set that up. So I think more reps that he gets, I think he's got a good chance to be an impact player.
I would agree with you, and he's only going to get better. One of the things, he's an unbelievable athlete. He's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the speed. He's still learning the receiving position, mostly in the route running side of things. But they're going to be able to use him, and I think we'll see him tomorrow. But down the road sometime, and he should have had a touchdown in the Eastern Kentucky game. Emory just underthrew the ball slightly, and the linebacker was in the way there and tipped it and knocked it down. It would have been a touchdown, and you would have really heard the crowd go wild there. But I like the way they embrace him. And I've talked to him a couple of times, not for long, but he's just a great kid too. So you want the best for him. And, the quarterback thing didn't work out. He hurt his arm in the spring as well. What happens if he maybe has surgery, with Emory gone? Maybe he goes back to quarterback. I doubt it, but that's a possibility still.
Brad wants to know, do you think there's a gimmick play in there for Prater to make a pass there?
Absolutely. I think that's what you might see tomorrow. They did bring him in at what they call, what we call a wildcat.
Right.
He came in, took a direct snap, and Emory Jones stayed in the game, went out the wide receiver, and it didn't work out. It was into the closed end, into the student section. Again, in the red zone, I want to say like 2nd and 7, something like that. And it didn't work out, but you will see him sometime this year throw a pass. The thing is, it needs to be when the defense is least expecting it. Right. So
kind of like the fake punt.
I like the fake punt. Exactly.
Send him in jet motion and, a quick toss to him and send someone on the other side of the formation, deep. But boom, there you go. I just schemed it
No
up.
doubt about it. We will see it this year. Yep.
Now, hopefully, nobody from Oklahoma watches this podcast, so you just gave away the secret.
That I can't. I hope they are for your sake there, Jeff.
Lots of people watch this. So tomorrow, UC versus Oklahoma. How do you think our defense matches up with Oklahoma? Because we talked about it, the shots that Miami took. I was surprised, how they got them. I didn't think they'd get those against us. You said how Oklahoma is a high-powered, speeded-up offense. How's our defense going to match up to them, you think?
Yeah, that's why getting pressure on the quarterback is so key. They are going to try to just saturate the field with receivers. So here's what they'll do. That quick tempo, get in, go down, 10, 15, 20-yard crosses, out routes, quick outs, boom, tempo. Then, boom, a little fake out and up or something where you come in, make it like you're going to go inside and cut back out, combination routes, corner route with an out route. Somebody jumps the out route, you go to the corner guy. They saw enough with Miami, and honestly, Pittsburgh did not complete any of those, but tried. What they did get out of it was 3 defensive pass interference calls. Miami got 2 as well. So they're going to go after particularly Justin Harris, kind of the new guy in the game. And it's not uncommon when you see somebody filling in for somebody with an injury that you go after them. But I think what they're going to try to do is lull the Bearcats to sleep, thinking short pass, intermediate pass, short pass, intermediate pass, short pass, boom, up over the top. And they had Oklahoma had 3 receivers go for 100 yards last week. Here's the thing. I looked up at the scoreboard, and I'm going to say maybe third quarter, and I don't know where it was because, we really don't see the clock. It's like 19-7 Oklahoma over Tulsa. And you're thinking, okay, Tulsa's staying with them. Right. This is all right. Then you look up and you see 70-7 or something.
Oops. Well, never mind.
Like, okay.
Alrighty. That's a little more like we thought.
Cat toying with its meal.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And to me, that's a byproduct of wearing the other team down. You're in the game, and then all of a sudden you get to the fourth quarter and you're like, oh my God, I don't think I can run down the field one more time. Defensively, I'm talking about. And that's another point that we kind of skipped over is the offense can really help out there with some chewing up some clock and some.
That was the next question I was going to. Yeah. I think they with what you're saying about what Oklahoma wants to do with the offense, we need to do some clock killing with this offense, I think.
Yeah, I mean, a nice 8-minute drive, 13, 14, 15 plays with a touchdown on the end of it. That's perfect. That keeps them off the field. That's one way to slow them down.
What do you got, Joe?
I was going to say Bearcats are one of the better running teams. I think not that it really matters too much because conference play hasn't started, but in the Big 12, I think they're the number 1 team for rush yards. So I almost don't even want them. I don't say don't want them, but I think it's safer for them not to try to take deep shots unless it's wide open until, later in the game and they're up, just keep grinding on the ground. Yeah, you've got Montgomery, you've got both Montgomerys for that matter. You got Kiner and Emory Jones and just play action, over the middle to tight end. I think that's the only way because, I would say UC has a benefit of witnessing this offense, but it's been a while since they saw Dylan Gabriel. I don't even know how many players were even still around outside of Malik Vann and maybe Deshaun Pace on defense. And outside of Kerry Combs, most of the coaching staff is new. So that's, how much of that experience, so.
No, I mean, you're right. Malik Vann, I think Taj Ward and probably Sammy Anderson, a couple of those secondary guys were around, but they weren't playing at the time. Malik might have been playing. But that being said, I think you're absolutely right. And, running the ball is going to be the key. They're number 1 in the Big 12 in rushing. They're number 8 in the country in rushing. So, I mean, those are high credentials right there.
Oh, yeah.
And it'd be great. And just because it does chew up the clock, shorten this game, don't make it you don't want to go 55 to, which is what the points that they're averaging. I don't think they'll score that, but you only want it to be 38-31. You'd rather have it somewhere in the 20s if you can, and maybe the high 20s or the 30s, but you've got to score with them. And the way that you can accomplish and keep their score down is to chew up some of that clock with your running game.
Now, one thing I like asking this question a lot, but if they get a chance to take the ball first, do you think the Bearcats will to hopefully maybe get a lead, make them chase us?
It's funny you say that, because I thought Satterfield, being the offensive guy, I thought we'd see him do that, and they didn't win the toss against Miami, and Miami took the ball, which made me think, okay, I know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to go up top on this first play, and they did.
Right.
But I said something to him. I don't know if it was the Pittsburgh game or the Eastern Kentucky game, because I thought, you know what, get the ball first, show how good your offense is, move the ball down the field, take a quick lead. But he said, no, we'll defer. So now that may change. That may change tomorrow, particularly when you're looking at what Oklahoma has on offense, and how quick they run. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I say we take a page out of what Miami did to us. Take the ball, go deep, and get a score. Get out ahead of these guys. Well, I don't know. Either way, tomorrow's gonna be exciting. I know Joe's gonna be excited. He's gonna be there at the game. I don't know. I would love to be there for big noon kickoff, but I don't know if I'm gonna get down there and then try to get back here to watch the game. I might just stay down here in the ice cave and watch it. But either way, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Jim, I can't wait to listen to you and Dan on the radio. You guys do an awesome job, and I appreciate you always coming on here. Anytime you ever want to come on, Jim, the door is always open for you. Tell everybody where they can follow you and anything you want to plug about your gigs or anything coming up here soon.
Okay, well, sure. And first of all, thank you for having me, Jeff and Joe.
No
good talking to you as well, and you guys reach out anytime. As far as me, it's jimkellymusic.com. It's pretty simple to find. I don't have a lot of gigs scheduled right now because my weekends are tied up.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're doing.
So like we're heading to Provo bright and early Thursday morning next week.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. What time you gotta get down there tomorrow? Because I think tomorrow's gonna be a madhouse.
Yeah, it's gonna be a zoo. I went to game day, got up there as close as I could just to experience it. First one I had gone to, Tony Pike, myself, and Mo Egger went to the one down at UCF a few years ago when UC was playing them. And then I was very fortunate to go to the Army-Navy game a few years back and went to game day there. So then my third one was the one here. And it was really, really neat, but it was really, really crowded and really, really hard to get around. And this one will be the same. The weather's going to be absolutely spectacular. So, I don't need to get down there too early because fortunately I can get to the press box fairly easily. I am going to try to get up there and watch a little bit of the Fox show. And I don't know how close I'll get. I don't want to get myself tied up in there, but looking forward to it.
They're going to pull you out of the crowd and give you your picks. I already said that.
Well, that's true. I have to get
Jim Kelly here. Eric, come on up.
Yeah, I'll have to get fairly close so that they can get me onto the stage. But,
exactly.
Yeah, but again, as we said at the outset, it's huge for the University of Cincinnati and this football program.
This is a gigantic weekend for the city itself. You've got UC, with Fox's kickoff show, UC's first game against Oklahoma, the Reds' last homestand of the season. They're still pushing for a playoff berth. Yep. And then Monday Night Football, Bengals and Rams. This is the spotlight is bright, and absolutely, this be an awesome weekend for all those involved to take full advantage. So,
and I think FC Cincinnati is playing Saturday night too. So
yeah, they've got a home match. They've got a home match against Charlotte on Saturday, right. I believe.
Yeah, so the Reds are going to sell out their last homestand. You're looking at 250,000 people attending sporting events here with the 3 Reds games, the college game, the MLS game, and then the NFL game on Monday. So
who says Cincinnati's not a sports town? Come on now. Exactly. All right, Jim, I appreciate it, man. Bring home a winner. I'll be listening tomorrow. Take it easy.
Right. Thank you.
See you guys.
Jim.
So what time are you getting down there tomorrow, Joe?
I'm not sure. It's the problem is I'm not getting down there for the kickoff show because I'm old and I need my beauty sleep. As
You're
you can
not
tell,
that old. I
haven't gotten enough of that. That's what So
well, duh. It's just that's the moneymaker right there. Hello.
No, I'm probably going to get down there. I'm probably going to leave the beautiful east side of town at 10 o'clock. I'll probably get down to the campus about 10:30. So and kick around some of the tailgates before I make my way to my seat. So
well, make sure you stay hydrated and don't, if it's hot like it was last time.
Yeah, we're not gonna have a redo of it's gonna be like 78 instead of 95 that it was a few weeks ago when you and I were there. So
dude, it was so
don't think we're gonna be dying like we were.
Oh, I'd take me out. You got really good seats. I'm like, damn, I want to sit down there, but it's so freaking hot. I was like getting lightheaded and everything. I'm like, oh, then I walked upstairs, all up the steps. I was going to pass out.
It's a long ass walk upstairs.
Especially when you're old and fat.
It's not bad going down because gravity. Worst case, you slip and you just roll your way and you just look up and like, oh, there's my seat.
Yeah, you just roll to your seat.
Holy Moses, it kills you.
Exactly.
Row 7 out of like, I don't even know where they start, but it's, you're going down 30 some odd rows and or going back up.
Right.
Calves and hamstring, everything tightens up. You're like, okay, I'm gonna get about 5 beers and other drinks just so I don't have to make it back. I don't care if it's hot.
Down.
Yeah, I'll find a way.
Exactly. All right, Joe, tell everybody where they can find you, your show, and everything that you're doing here.
At the Bengals Show, like we put nicely here after my name.
Yeah.
Bengals Show presented by the Riverfront, or any of the shows that we have. We're on YouTube. We are on Riverfront, youtube.com, Riverfront Cincy. I've got my show, The Bengals Show, with my good friend Greg Neiman. You've got Late Night Reds with Tim Daniel and Ben Brown. And then you've got the longest running Cincinnati Reds podcast, The Riverfront, with Chad Dotson and Nate Dotson. So we have and just quick, pump something out real quickly. We have a giveaway going on. Any new YouTube followers, we are giving away tickets for the Bengals October 15th game versus the Seahawks. So subscribe and you will be in the running. So I probably be doing that giveaway. We're doing a live show on Monday. Hopefully we'll try to get Jeff live from a tailgate while we're down there. If he's, we'll say coherent. I'm not going to say you're
coherent. I'm not drinking down Bengals games this year. So yeah, I'll be coherent. That's one of the reasons I decided to not drink at Bengals games, because I want to be coherent when I'm going into the stadium. So yeah.
Well, have you seen the ridiculous, stupid amount of fights that are going on?
Oh,
dude. They always happen. I mean, I had season tickets 20 years ago, and they've been happening, but it seems like it's gotten worse. And
I was standing by the guy who headbutted the other guy.
Oh wow!
I was standing, not by him. I was standing in line at halftime to go get a drink, and he just bam and dropped the dude. I'm like, holy crap! So yeah, it was an interesting game Sunday. I'll tell you that the fans were really enjoying themselves a little too much, I think.
Yeah. Because Brad here on chat says he's going to be down at 8 a.m. I'll still be sleeping at that time. So I appreciate the commitment.
That's because you're old.
I blame the kids.
You can't blame the kids for everything, Joe. God.
That's part of being a parent, though. That's why you have kids, for A, so they can do the yard work, and B, so you have a built-in excuse for why you can't do stuff. Like if you want to do stuff
how's that working out for you?
It works okay. I mean, it gets you out of stuff.
Okay.
If you don't want to do something, you say, "Oh man, the kids have something going on," or "I've got this or that," and it does work okay. So
I try that, but then people like, your son's 23. I was like, so he's still got stuff going on.
Yeah, you see, you're out of that age. I've got an 8-year-old and a 14-year-old, freshman in high school. So
exactly. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for jumping on. Go to your homecoming parade.
Jeff, always fun as always. Appreciate you having me on, bro. See
you, dude. Later. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. That's the first show of today. Got about a half-hour break, and I'll be back on live at 5:30. We got Corey Dillon, and we got the Dillon crew. I think I should call it. We got Bengals captain's going to be on there. Big Savage Greg, and of course, Corey Dillon, the man, the greatest running back in Bengals history. We're going to have a fun Football Friday show. Corey answered me, said, yeah, I'll come back on again. Sweet. So we're coming up back at you live at 5:30. But let me get to the Fisher Group that let me live stream. And of course, I appreciate every single one of them. They are Houday Nation, Houday Legion, Bearcat Ruckus, Radical Reds, the Ohio State Bucknuts, the Ice Bar. They can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, and TikTok. Twitter X is at Jeff A. Turnipole. TikTok is at Iceman90. Threads and Instagram, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'll be pulling this out later on tonight, putting on the podcast. It'll be on BeanPod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Leave a 5-star review and a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. YouTubers, you guys are awesome. I'm up to 2,359 subscribers. Appreciate every single one of you guys. Big weekend for the Bearcats. The very first Big 12 matchup against the Oklahoma Sooners. I did see the Bearcats play Oklahoma a couple years ago. That was down at Paycor. That was actually Paul Brown is what it was called at the time. They lost. I think they got a shot tomorrow, but we'll see. I mean, like Jim Kelly said, Oklahoma wants to go fast, and faster. So we got to control the clock, get them off the field as fast as we can, and hopefully pull out a victory. But we'll see. Reds, hopefully sweep this weekend. Joey Votto's last home stand as the Cincinnati Reds. Make sure you go out there and support the Canadian Cowboy. Give him a standing ovation every time he comes to a bat. Other than that, I think I'll see you guys here in about a half hour. That's your sports, baby. See ya!
Talked about it yesterday, just that chip on your shoulder. Everyone talking about a neutral AFC championship game, not even thinking about you guys. How much did that motivate you coming into this?
You better send those refunds.
I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. Back-to-back champs, kings of the north with it. Thinking they can hang with us, still ain't jumped out the porch with it. Long bomb to chase every Sunday, watch him go and get it. Double up on him, then we gon' double down on T. Higgins. Then throw Boyd in the mix, now you really iffy. Every Sunday showing boys how to really gritty. They try to shuffle up the game on us, but they ain't icky. Flip the coin, kick the toe, Roger to go and get it. Never know what's gonna happen when Joe drop back. He get shiesty in the pocket, I get shiesty on the track. Nobody on the team, all pro, that's all cap. Most all-around team in the NFL, that's all fact. Ain't came across nobody yet that seem like they can hang with us. They said we couldn't be Buffalo, but see how we call they bluff. Underdogs every week, they keep on trying to label us. Put your money on us, even if Vegas don't favor us. No matter what, we really came up, now it's hard to fail. I dare you come across that middle, Von gon' ring your bell. I know we under they skin, them boys built frail. Eli Apple out there chirping like a next tail. You don't want Salmon Trey to come off them ends. Rita clogging up the middle like a big body Benz. Right behind them Logan and Pratt, the turnover twins. Jesse Bates in the backfield just to clean up the loose ends. We just drafted Cam and drafted Hill. Instant gratification every time that they on the field. We can't go back to what we was, cause that's the loser way. It's been hard to throw on us since we picked up a Woozy. It's like win after win, feel like we could really do it. Zach Taylor doing the same for the city, I give it to him. And I bet Samaji will find a hole if you give it to him. Hayden Hurst don't need a hole, he just plan on running through him. Just hand it off to 28 and let him do the dash. Getting hit by BJ Hill probably feel like a car crash. Every week it seem like Lou digging deeper in his bag. And if the game on the line, all my favorite money match. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up.